have as an individual. The way I see it is this. That's a common phrase that I would use. Or the way I think it should be done is this. That's just leaning on my own understanding. So what or whom are you leaning your ladder against? When we were children, without even realizing it, we lean our ladder against our parents. We trust in them. And as we grow older, we lean in on our own skills or some company or some organization. In every case, those individuals are human. Those walls that we lean against from a human perspective will always fail us, and they create anxiety, difficulty, and oftentimes pain. So Solomon says, don't lean your ladder against any other wall. Lean it up against God. Now, here's the verse again. Trust in the Lord, seek Him, take refuge in Him with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. So the wisest man in the world said there's a better way to make decisions. What you know, what you've learned and experienced, that'll be insufficient. Don't lean on that for good decision making. So in other words, I need God's involvement to choose the right paths. Direction doesn't begin with a search for knowledge. Direction begins with submission. You see, it's submission that precedes direction. Begin by trusting in the Lord with all your heart. And that shows up like, God, I will trust you with my finances. I'll trust you with this dating relationship. I'll trust you with my marriage. I'll trust you with my children. I don't want to wait until I get so far down the path that I have 3 options and every one is bad. I want to trust you up front with all my heart. I'm not going to lean on just my understanding of how to do this. Now, the way it shows up for me personally is, did I get the permission of the Holy Spirit to do this or that? I'll think and I'll pray and ask, God, will you be pleased with this decision or this direction that I'm moving? And if I get that freedom internally in my spirit, then I'll move in that direction. If I get a check, I'll hold back. In other words, I'll stick with the last clear directive that I got from the governing power of the universe. I think standing orders are good orders. I'll keep moving in that direction until He gives me new orders. I have a little prayer that I keep in my personal journal that I pray a whole lot more than you might think. But it goes something like this. To the governing power of the universe, dear sir, I hereby resign my self-appointed position as directing superintendent of my own life and my own world. I cannot level all the mountains of injustice. I cannot fill all the valleys of selfishness. There's just too much of it in me. I hereby turn over to you for your disposition and use my life, my money, my time, my talents, just at your disposal. Your obedient servant, Jody. Why not write your name after obedient servant here? See, God is capable of handling all things. We're not. When we're connected to God, then He works in us to give us the strength and wisdom to make good path choices. We don't lose by surrendering to God. We gain by turning our lives over to God. Now in verse 6, Solomon kind of repeats the same thought for emphasis, but adds a little bit more to it. In all your ways, in your marriage, in your entertainment, in your dating, in your morality, in your education, in your finances, in your profession, in all your ways, not just your religious ways, not just your Sunday ways, in all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Or as the NIV here says, He will make your paths straight. Acknowledge is a key word here. It means to seek to know His presence every day in everything that we do. It's literally just practicing the presence of God in our lives. It's knowing Jesus on an intimate daily basis. In all your ways, acknowledge Him. I love the covenant promise aspect of this verse. There's a result here that's promised to us. God's making a covenant with us if we'll do as Solomon is saying, Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him. Look what He promises here that He will do. He will make your paths straight. You could add, and then, as a result, He will make your paths straight. Or as a result of your trusting and not leaning on yourself, but trusting in Him, He will make your paths straight. Or at the end of the process, He will make your paths straight. He will make your paths clear. He will clear the way. You will know which path to take. But it's submission that precedes direction. So don't wait to acknowledge Him until all your past choices are bad. Don't wait till you've made a mess with your marriage or your finances or your professional pursuits or your children. The God who knows the future says to you and to me, let me work with you before you get into a situation where all your choices are bad. At the beginning, in those early days of choosing paths and daily choosing paths, involve me in that process. We don't need more information. What we need is submission. And I love that last phrase. He will make your paths clear. In some translations, it uses the word direct. He will direct your paths. So I really ran down that one word to see what its implications were. Fascinating word. It's only used one other time in the Old Testament, and that's in the book of Isaiah. And there in Isaiah, the same word says that the Lord shall make a highway. So if you'll trust in Him, don't lean on your own understanding, but in His, acknowledge Him, He'll not just give you a little glimpse of the best path. He'll cut a highway for you. It won't be fuzzy and foggy and out of focus. He'll make it very clear. Make it just broad. He'll cut a highway for you to walk down if you'll trust in Him. So the word actually means He cuts a highway. Here's what the same word translates, how it occurs in Isaiah 35:8. And a highway will be there. It will be called the way of holiness. The unclean will not journey on it. It will be for those who walk in that way. Wicked fools will not go about on it. So the path that God will cut through you will be clear. It'll be obvious. It'll be wide. He'll cut that kind of a path for you if you'll do as Solomon is instructing here. There are a couple of rectangular blocks on the bottom of your study guide. You can just fill those in with me. I want to take the same words I've been saying here for the last 20 minutes or so and just put them into a little bit different terminology. This could be worth everything to you if you could get your arms around this simple truth here. It's taken me a lifetime to understand this. At all times, there is an upper story going on and there is a lower story going on. The upper story is God's. The lower story is man's. Now, if we were in a classroom setting, I would have you just to dialogue with me about characteristics of this upper story. This is God's sphere of knowledge and reality and experience. So just think with me, what would be attributes or characteristics of this upper story? Well, God is holy. So the way He sees reality is untainted. God is eternal. From as far back in history as your mind can go to as far into the future as you can conceive, God is equally present. He is eternal. He sees things from that perspective. God is all-knowing. He doesn't have partial knowledge and partial understanding. He's all-knowing. God's sphere, He's all-powerful. So His experiences are based on the fact that He's sovereign. He controls everything. God is fair. God is just. He treats each of us equal. But the lower story is in contrast to that. This is man's sphere of knowledge and reality and experience. And again, I would ask you to engage and just think and brainstorm, and you'd come up with things like this. Well, man's lower story, man's sphere is limited. See, we grew up in a certain family of origin, I grew up in a certain area, and I went to certain institutions, and my life is skewed